Chris Dehan with SportsMic Radio here, and I'm speaking with Bryan Way, head coach of the Warner Robins Demons. And we're actually speaking on the Friday after what was supposed to be a scrimmage between Warner Robins and Rutland. It got rained out, postponed until Tuesday. Back in college, my editor always said, don't leave with the weather, but the weather's been a factor this summer, hasn't it, Bryan?
It has. It's been the wettest summer I can ever remember, and coolest summer I can ever remember. And it's, there's not anything you can do about it, so you just try to adjust and do the best you can. But it's been awful wet throughout the summer, and like I said, cool. And then once we started school, it dried out a little bit and got really hot, and of course we wilted in the heat because we hadn't been used to that kind of heat. Throughout the summer, especially a couple of days last week, and then we get a lot more rain yesterday, and end up rescheduling the scrimmage just because I don't, if it had been regular season game, naturally you play, but we feel like, and Coach Collins at Rutland felt like that the main purpose of the scrimmage is to evaluate your players and see how they're going to react in kind of game type situations, and with the field conditions the way they would have been yesterday, I don't think it would have given us a real good evaluation tool. And so we decided to just reschedule for Tuesday, and hopefully, I don't know if it'll stop raining by then. It doesn't look like it, but hopefully we're able to get out there on a little bit drier track and kind of have a little bit better idea of what we can do and what we can't do.
A couple of your seniors, tackle Jermaine Abron and kicker Matt Monday, were selected all Class 5A preseason. Obviously a great honor for them. How does that energize the rest of the team?
Well, like I say, it's a big honor for those guys being named any kind of preseason All-State or whatever team. I don't know. Really hadn't been a whole lot said about it. We don't emphasize individual accolades and things like that. We say that if the team does well, then the individual accolades will take care of itself. But the guys are they were excited when they saw it, and happy for those two young men. And it always, especially in the preseason, anything that kind of happens to kind of boost the energy level is always good, because they get tired of beating on each other after a while. So it was good. Like I said, good honor for those guys. But I don't think either one of the two players really has thought a whole lot about it, and they just kind of continue going about their business and working hard and getting better.
Last year, the defense, the Warner Robins defense, made a name for itself, forcing turnovers, scoring off those turnovers sometimes. How do you teach that, first of all, and who do you have this year that you can count on as a defensive playmaker?
Well, I mean, we work on, taking the ball away. That's some of the things we emphasize during practice when we do any type of full, whether it be 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 scrimmage type stuff. We want to create turnovers on defense. And so Coach Carroll and all the defensive staff do a good job of instilling that mindset in the defensive players. Now, how much of it you can actually, other than instilling that mindset, coach, I don't know, you can work on stripping the ball and things like that. And we do that sometime, first and foremost, the first guy there has got to lock up and make a good tackle. But, the guys coming in, to assist are trying to knock the ball out and things like that. And we do drills at the end of practice for conditioning on defense of, picking up fumbles and running it back for touchdown just against the air, just to get used to, when you have that opportunity to try to turn it into points for your team. So, that's, I don't know whether that creates those turnovers. I think a lot of it is just being at the right place at the right time, and, maybe a little luck on our part and things like that. Playmakers on defense, we lost Rod Harris, who was probably maybe our biggest playmaker there, and Sean Prizer at outside linebacker made some big plays for us. But we feel like as a group we're going to be pretty athletic and be able to get to the ball and create some things. Who's going to emerge as the quote playmaker out of that group? We really don't know yet. We hope we have a bunch of them. But at this point, I don't think anybody has stepped up and say, well, that's a guy that's going to create some big plays for us. But we hope that several of them do.
How many starters do you have back on defense?
Well, really only 3 full-time starters and about 2 other guys that started a pretty good number of games for us last year. So, 4 or 5 guys there that have started a pretty good bit of time for us, and a couple other guys that saw significant minutes last year. We're experienced at linebacker, kind of 50-50 on the defensive line. We got some guys there that have played some football for us, very inexperienced in the secondary. And Reggie Gordon's probably the most experienced guy that we have back there, but he was a running back last year. Mm-hmm. And so, he's been in the fire, but it's a whole lot different, at corner than it is at running back. So, it'll, it just depends on how good a job we do coaching those guys up, and how quickly they, kind of react to the speed of the game as to, how good we can be there. But, we are athletic, mm-hmm. and we can run fairly well on defense, so hopefully we can get around the ball and create some big plays.
Reggie had a really impressive yards per carry average
mm-hmm.
last year. Will he run it all?
Oh, yeah, he's still going to play some offense. We like to play, 3, 4, 5 running backs. Anybody that's ever watched us play, there's not a big secret as to who's going to carry the ball. So we feel like we have to have more than one because, that one guy's going to get tired, plus he's going to take a lot of licks. Right. So we like to keep them fresh, and, we like I said, we have 4 guys that we feel really good about carrying the ball. 2 of them are kind of quote offensive players, and the other 2 are defensive players that play some offense, and we feel good about that position. We think that we got some guys that can be productive there.
And what are their names?
Danny Heights, our returning starter there, had almost 1,200 yards rushing last year, and he's a senior, and he's kind of the leader of that group. But Jaquan Burns, a junior, probably had 500 or 600 yards rushing last year, as did Reggie, who's also a junior. And then Terry Harris, who's playing outside linebacker for us, but was a running back on the 9th grade team last year, is very talented. He may be the biggest and strongest of the bunch. So, we feel good about all 4 of those guys, and we think that they can all be very productive.
6 returning starters on offense, including quarterback Caden Johnston. A lot of skilled guys, mm-hmm. but maybe some questions on the offensive line.
Yeah, we're experienced in the offensive skill positions, which is good. We're inexperienced on the offensive line, which may not be so good. But we do have some upperclassmen there, some seniors who have been in the system, for 4 years, and have paid their dues, and now it's their turn to step up and get the job done. And that seems to always happen on the offensive line. That's a place where a lot of times a lot of guys won't play until mm-hmm. their senior year, and they end up doing an outstanding job for us. Like our center last year, Brock Harrell, had hardly played any. Been in the program and just paid his dues and turned out to be a very, very good player for us. So, we always have some guys like that step up everywhere, but especially on the offensive line. So we're looking for those guys to get the job done.
So there might be some questions, there might be some growing pains, mm-hmm. but your expectations are still high here at Warner Robins.
There's no doubt. They have the ability to get the job done, and if they have the desire to get the job done, and that's what most of it is on the offensive line. If you're mentally tough and want to get it done, you can usually get it done, because you're always going to be playing against better athletes. The better athletes are going to be on the defensive line than on the offensive line. So But we feel like those guys, they've made a lot of improvement as a group throughout preseason, and I think they'll continue to improve because, again, those guys, they're out there because they want to be. They never get any recognition. The only time anybody says anything to them is when they mess up. And so they'll continue to work hard, and we feel like we can be a pretty productive group there.